Donald Trump is only doing interviews with conservative sports hosts nowadays, like the ultimate douche nozzle Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, because they don't challenge him whatsoever.
I'm sure you've been asked this. It's one of the questions that I had when I was thinking what I would ask you here, because you, theoretically, for somebody like me who's sports, entertainment, having fun, you had the dream life, seemingly, and there's a part of me that's like, I wonder if he ever, I know the answer is going to be no, regrets it.
Just kill me. Anyway, college football returning has now become a lightning rod for conservatives who want to continue to exploit young, poor, predominantly black athletes for zero pay for their manual labor. What does that sound like? And continue to make millions off the top for a few rich white guys. And Trump is, of course, enthusiastically advocating for that on conservative sports radio on another show.
But, these football players are very young, strong people, and physically, they're physically in extraordinary shape. So they're not going to have a problem. You're not going to see people, could it happen? But I doubt it. You're not going to see people dying. And many people get it, and they have, kids, they get it. They have the sniffles. Young kids, almost none have a serious problem with it. Literally, you look, I think they said the state of California, almost nobody that's young had zero, had a problem with, meaning a serious problem with this disease. They get better very quickly if they get it at all. So I think football's making a tragic mistake.
I want to scream. There are so many things that need to be said about that. First of all, there are plenty of at-risk football players, particularly offensive linemen who have to keep their weight up. They could be categorized as obese. There are plenty of players with pre-existing health conditions, diabetes, for example, which puts them at risk for COVID-19, let alone the Big Ten players who were found to have heart inflammation problems caused by COVID-19. Conservatives keep repeating that the players want to play, which they have said that they do. The star players like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields have come out and said that we want to play. But the other part of that statement that they keep leaving out is that they call to form a union for representation because, guys, college football players, despite making millions and millions and millions of dollars, billions if you total all of the programs for their organizations, they do not get paid. They are semi-pro players who don't get paid. And it's exploitative and disgusting. The NCAA and college football is a disgusting organization, racist, exploitative to its core. The NFL is saintly compared to them. A 2014 study by the National Labor Relations Board showed that players at major college football programs spend 50 to 60 hours per week on their football duties during a 1-month training camp prior to the start of the academic year, and an additional 40 to 50 hours per week on those duties during the 3 or 4 month football season. With that kind of schedule, when is there any realistic time for classes and studying? Hint, there isn't any. Much of this argument was hashed out publicly in 2017 when the group of football players at Northwestern University ultimately failed in their attempts to unionize and seek some kind of cash salary, but their efforts produced a strong argument for paying college football players. For players to be forced to dedicate so many weekly hours on the field, even at an elite academic institution like Northwestern, the very idea that academic scholarships are fair compensation was thoroughly debunked. As then UCLA star quarterback Josh Rosen told an interviewer in 2017, look, football and school don't go together. They just don't. Trying to do both is like trying to do 2 full-time jobs. So why do so many young men playing college football sacrifice so much time, risk, injury, and at least put off preparing for a job market by playing the game? The answer is obvious in that almost all of them have dreams of playing in the NFL, where football is also a job, but one that pays millions of dollars. College football is thus an industry that survives on hope as opposed to any actual give and take between employee and employer. Speaking of that hope, it's really more like a pipe dream. NCAA data shows that of the 73,660 young men playing major Division I college football, just 1.5% will ever play in the NFL. If you guys follow my work, you know that I'm a huge NFL football fan. I'm a sports fan. If I wasn't doing this, I would be covering the league extremely critically, though, because obviously the NFL has many problems. I'm a huge advocate for players' rights. Players should be getting paid way, way, way more money. I want the billionaire owners to make a lot less, and players who have 3 to 10 to whatever amount their careers are, that amount of time to capitalize on their talents and take as much money as they want. So that's my perspective. And I will say that the NCAA in college football is around 1,000 times worse. They are exploiting the dreams of young men who often don't have a lot and have only focused on football their whole lives because they were probably the best player in their county or one of the best players in the state or at least in their high school, and they were recruited and this is what they felt they were born to do. And say they tear their ACL in a game against Clemson and their knee is never the same, or a more catastrophic injury, because ACLs, they're better at that now. I digress. And they're never able to play in the NFL again. They never got a penny for the millions and millions of dollars in profits that they provided to their industry. To their school and their industry as a whole. And on top of that, Republicans, exploitative coaches, college university presidents who want that cash want these guys to play in a pandemic and not pay them. It's a remnant of the slavery mindset, and I don't say that lightly. It's disgusting, and I can't support college football as an institution because that's how revolting it is. Even though I do love football, it is a gross, gross system that needs to be dismantled and changed.